Hey everyone, welcome to the video. My name is Dwane Thomas. I'm the author of Visual Latin and Word Up, and years ago I built these charts that I give away free to my students. These charts are all the Latin endings organized on 4 pages. On the first page and on the last page you find verbs, and in the middle you find nouns and adjectives and pronouns and things like that. In this lesson we are looking at the present tense verbs right here. So let's reduce this down to only what we need. And here we are. We are in First Year Latin by Robert Henle, Chapter 1, Exercise 5. And in this exercise, he gives us 2 instructions. Say it in English, say in English, and then diagram sentences 1, 4, and 10. So let's jump in. So we're to translate these into English. So our first sentence is Maria, subject of the sentence, and then she prays, orat. Verb. Throughout these videos, I'm going to use a very simple method of indicating over and over and over again the part of speech for each word that we encounter. So for example, every time I see a subject, I'm going to underline the subject one time and put an S above it, and that S stands for subject. Often as well, I will put an N underneath, and N stands for nominative. And then for the verbs, I'm going to double underline the verb and put a V above it, meaning verb. And this pattern, we will use this pattern over and over again throughout the entire series. So Maria orat means Maria prays. Now if we look up here, we have the word vocal, the verb vocal, in classical pronunciation vocal. Vocal means I call, vocas means you call, vocat means he, she, or it calls, and notice what we have here, we have orat. So this would be he, she, or it prays. In this case, she prays. And then here you'll notice these are shaded lightly in gray. This is where the plural starts, where it's shaded lightly in gray. So here we have vocamos, we call, vocatis, you all call, and vocant, they call. And we're going to keep it simple and only focus on vocare for now, or vocare. The rest of these we'll add later as we go through the course. Okay, so we spent a little bit more time on sentence 1 than we'll spend on the others, but let's keep going. Number 2, naute orant. Naute, subject of the sentence. It's in the nominative case. Notice it's plural. And then we have the verb orant. So pretend this is not vocat. Pretend this is orat. All right, so we have orat here. If we scroll down, we would have the same thing if we got rid of voca here and we added nt. Now it means they pray. So the sailors, naute orant, they pray. By the way, these charts are free to you. I'll link them down below in the video. Go over to my site, download them. They're all yours. Mark up all over the charts, print them off, do with them whatever you like. Okay, so the sailors pray. Our next sentence is 3, nauta, subject of the sentence, nominative case. Underline it one time. What are they doing? They're praying. We double underline the verb. I said they, but it's not they, guys. It's singular. The sailor, nauta, prays. So it's this one up here, orat, using this T ending here. Orat. Nauta, orat. Okay. Our next sentence, number 4, is naute. It's plural. You can see the plural ending there. We have nauta, which is one sailor. Naute, more than one sailor. So it's plural. So the sailors, subject of the sentence, nominative case. We underline the subject one time. They pray. Orant. Notice the verb ending is plural. We have orant here, just like we have vocant up here. They call. Orant, they pray. Now, it says, Mr. Henle says, when the sentence contains not, we use the helping verb do in English. For example, the sailors do not pray. We don't have the helping verb do in Latin, so we don't have to worry about that. But in English, we do use the helping verb do. For example, we don't say, the sailors not pray. That would sound bad in English. We say the sailors do not pray. And I'll show you how to diagram that too. Not diagram it, I'm sorry. Underline it and everything. When we underline it and we mark everything, that is called parsing the sentence. So I'm going to teach you how to parse all of these sentences and we're going to learn how to diagram all of these sentences. But before we go on, non is an adverb, and in grammar, when we're parsing sentences, I always circle adverbs. So every time we see an adverb, I'm going to circle it, and non is an adverb. So we have the sailors do not pray, naute non orant. Now I want to do this in English as well. So in English we would say the sailors, subject to the sentence. We don't have to put nominative case underneath it in English because we don't really do that in English. The sailors do not pray. Now we have three words here that are part of the verb. This is a verb phrase. Really, do pray is the verb phrase. Not is an adverb. We'll circle not. These same rules that we're using in Latin to parse those sentences, they apply to English as well. We can do the same thing to English sentences. The sailors do not pray. Do not pray is a verb phrase. Pray is the main verb, so we'll put a V over pray. And do is a helping verb, so we'll put a H over do. It's a helping verb. Some people call it an auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verbs, auxiliary comes from the Latin word auxilium, which means help. So a helping verb is a helping verb, and an auxiliary verb is a helping verb. Same thing, really. And then in English, we're going to have something called an article adjective. In English, there are three article adjectives, a, an, and the. In Latin, we don't use article adjectives, so we don't have to worry about that. So here's our sentence now parsed in English. The sailors do not pray. Now, one weird thing that Latin does is sometimes a Latin verb can stand on its own, like number 5. So here we have vident. So we see the verb. By the way, this is where we get the word evident. If we put E in front of vident, we have evident, easily seen. It is evident that you are learning Latin. It is easily seen. Evidence is also that which is seen. Maybe in a crime scene, the police look for evidence. Anyway, vident means they see. So we have the verb, but what about the subject? So the subject in this case is actually the ending. So we could do this. We could take vocant or wocant, some people will say, in the restored classical pronunciation. We could double underline it twice because it's the verb. But really the verb is this part over here, voca. This part over here is the ending, which means they. Nt means they. So you could say that this over here is the subject. I would still leave it double underlined because the whole thing is the verb, but you could say that the nt is the subject. So if we go down here to vident, we could double underline it because it's a verb, put a V over vide. And then this part over here, you could mark as the subject if you wanted to. So vident means they see. All right. Number 6, nauta, subject of the sentence, nominative case. What's he doing? Videt, verb. Nauta videt. The sailor sees. Number 7, Maria, subject of the sentence, nominative case. What is she doing? She's seeing, videt. Some people in the restored classical pronunciation will say videt. It's fine. Number 8, similar situation to number 5. Here we had vident, they see. Here we have number 8, videt, he, she, or it sees. By the way, videt would be over here with the second, it's called the second conjugation. These are ERE verbs. We'll learn that later, but for now, notice we have an ET here, and we have an ET here. Videt means he, she, or it sees. Vocat, just so you know, means he, she, or it calls. Monet, he, she, or it warns. Ponet, he, she, or it puts or places. Audit, he, she, or it hears. So the point is, all these T's over here mean he, she, or it. And here we have videt, he, she, or it sees. All right. Number 9, nalte non vident. The sailors, subject of the sentence. You know what? I'm going to adjust this a little bit so that we're higher up on the screen. There we go. Number 9, naute, subject of the sentence, nominative case. Vident, they see, verb. And we have the adverb here, non, making it they don't see. The sailors do not see. The sailors do not see. And then our final one here, Mr. Henley's trying to trick us a little bit. We have non, which is an adverb. and then orat, which means, if we go up here, vocat means he, she, or it calls. Orat, here, with the same T ending, means he, she, or it prays. So he, she, or it does not pray. Non-orat. Now, Mr. Henle wants us to diagram sentences 1, 4, and 10. Diagramming is a bit of a lost art in the world today. People don't really diagram sentences that much anymore, but it's a useful skill, and it is a pictorial way of seeing the language. It's a way of seeing the patterns in a language almost through pictures. They're not really pictures, they're diagrams. But it is an interesting way to pull back and look at a sentence and figure out where all of its parts go. It helps you analyze language. So let's take a look at this. For diagramming right now with these sentences, it's super simple. All we do is draw a straight line and divide it. This is where all diagrams begin, and the subject goes on the left side and the verb goes on the right side. Simple as that. So we could actually diagram this sentence right here without moving. We could say Maria, and we'll draw a line under Maria orat. Maria orat. And then we just split it down the middle and we have diagrammed sentence 1. Maria, subject of the sentence. What is she doing? She's praying. Maria orat. Okay, Mr. Henle wants us to diagram number 4. Number 4 is a little bit trickier. When we add adverbs, we put adverbs typically underneath the word that they are modifying, the word that they are describing, the word that they are pointing to, with a slanted line. In this case, the adverb is modifying the verb. The sailors do not pray. What are they not doing? They're not praying. So we would put the adverb down here. I'll put A for adverb. So were we to diagram this sentence, we would say, let's start this over again. The sailors, naute, they pray, orant, and they don't pray. So we would put the adverb underneath. And we would say they naute non orant. And now we have the sentence diagrammed. Naute non orant. And if we parse it, naute, subject of the sentence, nominative case. What are they doing? They're praying. Orant, verb. Actually, they're not praying. Non-orant, adverb. Okay, and then we are to diagram sentence number 10. Mr. Henle again, trying to trick us here. So we will draw a straight line and divide it. We have a verb, orat, and we have an adverb, non-orat. So we'll put the verb on the verb side, orat, and we'll put the adverb on the adverb side, non. I said on the adverb side, it's not on the adverb side, it's underneath the word that it's modifying, underneath the word it's describing. We don't have a subject. So there's a couple of things we could do here. We could just leave the subject blank. Maybe we could put S over here for subject. We could, if you wanted to, put in parenthesis T, because the T ending is the subject. He, she, or it does not pray. Or we could just put a symbol there indicating that we don't know what goes there, or we don't have a subject to put there. So we could just put an X there, for example, meaning someone does not pray. Because this could be he, it could be she, or it could be it. He does not pray, or she does not pray. Could be any of those. Or if you wanted to, you could simply leave it blank. All right. That's exercise 5. I hope that helped. I hope that helped you with diagramming and parsing. We'll be using those skills through the rest of the course, so you're going to see them over and over and over again. Don't stress about them. Don't think I'm never going to remember this, because you're going to see it so often that it's going to become second nature. You'll see it over and over again, and you'll be so used to it, you won't have to think about it. Thanks for watching the video. If you want these charts, just look down below. They're in the notes for this video, along with tons of other links, helpful links. Hopefully that will help you learn Latin. Have a great day, everyone. See you in the next video.